three major cow breeds that they used for this. It was a red cow, Vacca Rossa, a white cow, Bianco Modenese, and then a brown cow, Alpina Bruna. Those are the three main breeds, and over time, that has kind of diminished. Those breeds produce great milk for Parm, but they don't produce the same level of volume that Holstein Friesian cows do. So a lot of Holstein Friesian cows have now kind of come over to Italy, and that's kind of primarily what's being used. This is a blend of Vacca Rossa and Alpina Bruna, and those are actually two of my favorite cows for Parm milk. My two favorite Parms that we've had are the Vacca Rossa and the Sole di Bruna. So this is going to be a really fun one. This wheel in particular, there's only 100 of these made a year. This guy was made in 2021, and it was one of 100. We got, I think, 5 to the south maybe, and we were lucky enough to be one of the stores that received this wheel. If you're unfamiliar with Parmigiano Reggiano, it is a very special cheese in that it is highly regulated in Italy, and there is a lot of care and effort that goes into producing this kind of cheese. I've got a cheat sheet just to make sure I don't leave any cool things off over here. So basically, Parm is made in a very specific area of Italy. As far as I recall, it's kind of south of the Po River, and it's going to only be from the areas of, I'm going to use my cheat sheet, I'm so sorry, Modena, Parma, Bologna, Reggio Emilia, and Mantua. Essentially, if you don't have your Parm coming from that area, you cannot call it Parmigiano Reggiano. It's also aged a minimum of 12 months. Don't age it 12 months. Anything under, it's not Parmigiano Reggiano. This is made with more or less unpasteurized milk. During the cheese-making process, it will warm the milk up to a point where it is no longer considered raw. And it's made with a blend of whole milk from the fresh morning milking and skim milk from the previous night's milking. They set the milk in vats, and it kind of separates the cream from the rest of the liquid, and then they blend those two in the morning. I think that's probably to reduce total waste. It gives them the ability to save milk from the previous night that normally wouldn't be able to make a whole nother wheel, right? So then they're, in the morning, able to utilize that to make more cheese. After they do that, they add the milk to these copper vats, and then they add a coagulant to it. That's going to typically be rennet. In the case of Parm, it is a traditional animal rennet. Once the curd separates from the whey, they're going to form these into wheels, put them in a mold, kind of latch it closed, and make sure that the form sets. Once the form has set and they open the wheels back up, they then pour it or submerge these into a salt brine for 20 to 25 days. They are then removed from said salt brine and added to aging caves where they sit for about 12 months. And every day, cheesemakers have to pay attention to each and every wheel. And I think for most of that process, at least the initial process, they are flipping these pretty much every day. And these guys are about 90 pounds a pop, so you can imagine it's a lot of fun if you were having to do it by hand. A lot of times there's like some machinery to it nowadays that makes the process a lot easier. And then after that, they have some dudes from the consortium. There's actually like a Parmigiano Reggiano consortium. You can think of them as like a bunch of Italian mafia members. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. But it's a bunch of guys that come in and they take these little tiny hammers and they actually hit the wheel all the way around. And these guys can tell just from the sound that makes whether it's going to be like a good quality wheel or a bad quality wheel. At that point, they grade it. Anything that passes the grade is Parmigiano Reggiano and is stamped with this really nice brand right here, and anything below that is basically considered, it's not good enough to call it Parmigiano Reggiano, but the process is still there, so they'll still utilize it. And then anything that's real bad, they just kind of throw away. So the cracking process is a lot of work. It's pretty fun. I actually really like it. I think Chris does too. And it involves scoring around the outside of the cheese, because this right here, this is actual cheese. It's not like a wax rind, it's not artificial, it's actual cheese.
Voila.
Yeah. And you can actually see how thick that rind is around there. And then all it is just inserting tools and kind of allowing the cheese's own weight to separate it. And then what you're left with is a wheel where the center of this cheese has never, it hasn't seen the light of day for over 2 years. Yeah. So, having it cracked open, we are going to knock some pieces off for you guys so that you guys can try it. Feel free to taste as much as you want. We've got a few like accoutrements and stuff around the store for you to play around with. There's some focaccia and a little olive oil tasting if you want to try some of our nicer olive oils. We've got some prosciutto di Parma over there, which forgot to mention, the whey byproduct that comes from Parmigiano Reggiano is what was traditionally fed to the pigs that make prosciutto di Parma, or get slaughtered for prosciutto di Parma. They don't make it.
Very industrious.
Great. Yeah, and then we've got some wines and stuff like that over there for you too. One of the classics is Lambrusco, so I do recommend if you are interested in a beverage, trying the Lambrusco with this. It's actually a drier Lambrusco. And then we have some Tupelo honey, which is like one of my favorite pairings with this stuff that we can drizzle on it for you as well over here. If you guys want to buy any, we're going to be working on breaking this guy down into pieces. You can just come up, you can tell us how much you would like. He'll crack it for you, I'll wrap it, we'll get it tagged, and then you can purchase it. So
this is the last wheel available in the United States. And I think Zingerman's up in Michigan.
Yeah.
So you can get it on their mill order too if you want to pay $50 a pound plus shipping.
Yeah.
Just get it here.
This is Brian, by the way. Brian's the reason that we have this. He's the specialty category director at Evans Beef. So, yeah.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
The cheesemaker is the reason we have it. And the cow.
Okay.
And the 2 breeds of cow.
True. Fair enough.
I haven't tasted this one yet.
Me either.
We got they make 100 wheels in Italy. 6 of them came to the United States this time around.
Oh yeah, sorry. I said 5 came to the South, 6 came to the U.S.
Right,
and we got one.
We got all 5 of the ones that came to the South, but I haven't tasted it yet, so I'm fired up.
And if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free. Like, I'm totally open to talk cheese.